Hello, everyone. Happy Monday. I'm so happy to do this one today. How to make budgeting simple, because money is a consistent pain point among entrepreneurs, among African Americans, right? Just the mere fact that we operate out of lack so much, right? Or disproportionate limited resources compared to other people. I think about money very differently than I think people who probably don't love numbers as much, and maybe people who don't have a banking background. So I'm always ecstatic to share my unconventional thoughts and approaches to removing intimidation out of this thing. So if you are in the room, please let me know you're rocking with me. Let me know what city and state you're coming in from. I love to see the coverage we have, both sides of the coast. We've even had some offshore visitors before. So please let me know in the chat where you're from. Just to make sure you can hear me, please drop a 1 in the chat. If you can hear me, drop a 1 in the chat. Atlanta, Georgia, Teswan, what's up, GA? Thank you for coming in. Hey, Kristen. Okay, so and y'all keep it coming. Let me know where you are. But I was so excited about this one. I think because I knew some good love was gonna be in the room. I was singing a song I hadn't sang in so long. Come on in my room. I don't know if y'all know that one. Come on in my room. California, June is here, y'all. I love all of my clients, but June has a very special place in my heart. I mean it. So proud of her and the strides she's made from a technological standpoint to just being innovative around her product offerings. So kudos to you, June. Thank you for coming in the room. As people continue to come in, we will welcome them. So don't mind me if I repeat myself, but there is a lot to cover today. So I'm going to go ahead and dive in. Again, this is a critical topic around budgeting, and I want to challenge. I'm going to intentionally challenge some of the things we commonly think about that hold us back. Okay. As always, I want your feedback, though. So the chat room will be live. I'll be watching it the entire time. I'll ask you to participate at different times, but let's dive into this thing. So we're going to be talking about how to make budgeting simple, right? For those of you who don't know, everyone I recognize so far, but I am Casey Richardson, creator of Blaze Business Intensive, which is a 6-week course, as well as the Blaze Women's Network, which is growing and so powerful. But that's me. What's more important is who you are, right? And I can already tell by gauging the audience that there's a spectrum of folks in the room, right? Let's be real. Some of you are confused as hell about budgeting, and that's why you are here. Do not be shamed. Drop a 2 in the chat if you feel me, right? Like I mentioned already, I mean, if you don't have a good grounding in mathematics or a complex formula, etc., this part of business management can be extremely intimidating, right? Knowing where to start, knowing what projections are, any of that stuff, right, can be extremely intimidating. So some of you are here because you're confused as hell, and this is the perfect place to be. I see some 2s in the chat. Okay, Tuswan. Hi, Shambria. Let us know where you're coming from, where you're dropping in from. I know where you're from, hometown, but let everybody else know. I'm so happy you're here. So much love and light to you. But yeah, if that is you, there is no shame in this. You are in the perfect place. Now, there are others of you who know where you're going. You're very, very clear about where you're going, but you need help mapping it out, right? One commonality amongst business owners, both male and female, is that you're visionaries, right? You can see what other people cannot see. But the problem is execution, right? We don't always have that piece. We don't always know how to map that thing out or what steps should come before the other, because all of it cannot happen simultaneously. And that is absolutely true in budgeting. It is why I have so much to share with you today. But if that is you, drop a 2 in the chat. No shame around that. Like, that is a common character trait amongst entrepreneurs. Denver, Colorado. I didn't even know you're in Denver now. Great. So happy you're here, Shambria. All right, now, again, we're at full spectrum here. Some people are finding the process of budgeting painful. I mean, painful, right? Like, this is beyond overwhelm. This means it's keeping you up at night, right? Like, you actually experience nausea. And I know this is real, right? I have clients who feel very comfortable, and I'm grateful for that, right? Sharing their pain points, and budgeting can be very painful to people where it makes them sick, right? So my goal today, I see your 2-test-1. My goal today is to remove the pain out of this process. And just like every approach that I have with you when we work together one-on-one, just like I have for those who are in my course, who have gone through the course, some of y'all are in the room, I give it a different spin in that I put you first, and there is no ifs, ands, or buts about it. There is no shortchanging yourself, right? And believe it or not, that very same thing is going to be true for budgeting. You'll see. And finally, it's for the person who may not be intimidated by budgeting at all, right? But the problem is there's only one them, right? I went to school for finance, right? I know numbers. It was my favorite and my best subject in school, but I ran into this problem, right? Often, where there's just only one me, right? And I only have 10 fingers and 2 eyes and 1 mouth and 1 nose, and I just can't possibly do all the things that I'm even capable of doing because I'm doing it all, right? And for those of you who've known me for a minute, you know that I say, and I mean it, if you're doing it all, you're doing it wrong, period. I don't care how dope you are. If this resonates with anybody in the room, please drop a 2 in the chat, and just know that you're in the right place, right? So we're going to dive into this. But first, and I believe everybody in the room, we have another person in the room. Please let us know where you're from. Welcome. So excited that you're here. You missed my intro singing, saying, come on in the room. But so happy you're here. I am Casey Richardson. I mentioned that earlier. I'm a proud Gamecock. I grew up in South Carolina, went to the University of South Carolina in Columbia, and it was the time of my life where I had to figure out who I was going to be and the difference I was going to make in the world, right? A lot of us can remember that period in our lives. But what was most important was that it was the first time that I got comfortable with my own voice, right? When a professor would ask a complex question and point to me, and there's 200 people in the room, and I had to say something, right? It was the first time I had to grow comfortable in my own voice. And as entrepreneurs, you will, and I say will because you will, because you're going to be an authority in your lane. You are a thought leader. You just have to get comfortable with hearing your own voice. That's where I started sharpening those chops personally, right? I am divorced. I abruptly ended a 10-year relationship, 4-year marriage about 5 years ago. And it was the toughest thing that I've ever had to do for myself. It's the first time that I learned to take a gigantic leap with very limited resources. This ties back to budgeting because, as I mentioned, right, our relationship with money, especially in the African-American community, is oftentimes unhealthy, right? And it causes us to move a little too safely, right? It causes us to be constrained, et cetera. And in that time of my life where I moved across the country 12 days after abuse, right? With limited resources, no plan. It's the first time I took a gigantic leap and saw gigantic rewards, and I've never been the same. So I pass that on to anyone that I can, especially Black women, because someone very wise once said, if you want to keep what you have, you must give it all away. And so every day I give everything I have to you all. I love you for real. I mean it. And so that leap has ultimately led to me being in Africa now. That's where I live. That's where I'm a permanent resident. And I'm here to help you unlock your dreams. I see more 2s in the chat. I love y'all for real. I'm happy this is resonating. That's the goal, right? Edifying you first. Quick things. I love Neo Soul. I don't know if anybody else loves Neo Soul, but Jill Scott. Oh my gosh. Erykah Badu, D'Angelo. Those are my people. I love chocolate, and I'm a finance geek, right? So I mentioned I have a background in banking. I spent 10 years in corporate America structuring multi-billion-dollar loans for people who never looked like me. And then in 2020, I left it to take the knowledge to the streets. And I have been thrilled to see women crush it just as much and better than the people who are on the other sides of those tables. And I'm committing my life to that. So in that work, I've gotten to help a lot of people, Clark University professors there, Airbnb, some good things cooking with them, but really partner with some people around inclusion and diversity in the Bay Area. I'm the chief credit officer, a C-suite position at Hello Tractor, a company in Africa, believe it or not. I've worked with Twitter, Bank of America, etc. But the most important thing that you should know is that I am committed to helping Black women. Nothing comes between that. I do not compromise on that. And that is why I love this space so much. That's why I love the Blaze Business Intensive so much. That's why I love the clients that are in the room so much. Y'all in my heart. I mean that. So as we step through this presentation, I'm not doing my job if you don't understand something, right? So you let me know. Talk to me in the chat. I'm watching it. I see your yes, Kristen. I see your A, Shambria. Teswan, I see your woo woo. So thank you, June. I appreciate it. I appreciate the love. So you speak to me, right? I'm watching this thing. We have a whole lot to cover in 49 minutes. So we're going to dive in. We're going to talk about how to make business budgeting simple. And I do mean simple. But first, I want to point out to you that this is going to be a mindset shift, not just for today, but I need you to walk in this thing every day because there's some things that we must heal to really make budgeting simple for us. One, it is taking the guilt out of spending. I'm going to leave that right there. I'm going to let you marinate on what that means for you, but it is taking the guilt out of spending. Somebody just came in the room. Welcome. I'm so happy you're here. Please drop in the chat where you are from. You are among family. We are diving in, but you're right on time. Secondly, to be able to make budgeting simple, we must take the lack out of spending. Now I got to dig here for a minute, right? You know what I mean by guilt. I need you to let that marinate right there. But when I say lack out of spending, we will spend money undercutting our need all the time. We'll give to everybody else. We'll carry people's burdens on our back. We'll give our last for everybody else. But when it comes to propping ourselves up around our needs, we will undercut our needs, right? We will under-resource ourselves. We'll underfeed ourselves. We'll underclothe ourselves, right? We'll underarm ourselves in businesses. If this resonates with anybody, I need you to drop a 2 in the chat, right? So you're spending money, but there's lack associated with that. And this is the relationship we have with money, right? We must heal that if we're going to move to the other side of this budgeting thing and make it simple. And I need to call that out as it is. Hopkins, South Carolina, Maisha, welcome. I'm so happy you're here. And then finally, I want to take the fear out of spending. Okay. As an entrepreneur, I get it. You do not want to make a wrong step that could cost you and your family everything, right? But there is such a thing called risk and reward trade-off, right? And the more risk you take, there's a higher likelihood that you will get a reward out of it. The safer you are, I'll use an example of putting all of your money in a checking account. And we know today that rates are as low to 0 as they can be, right? So over a 10-year period, you're going to get a 0.001% return, which is nothingness, right? So little risk, little reward. High risk, oftentimes high reward. So taking the fear out of that. I'm going to hold your hand through this, I promise, but we're gonna move on through. Okay, I see a lot of 2s. What's up, Maisha, with the heavy 2s? I appreciate you, sis. All right, so let's dive into this. Now, pull out your papers and pens. I want you to write down SIMPLE because I want you to remember this. So SIMPLE is an acronym, and I promise you, if you remember all 6 of these terms or these phrases, you will have unlocked how to make budgeting simple. All right. First, S is for subscriptions. Okay, S is for subscriptions. Write that down. I do not need you to reinvent the wheel by pulling out a blank Excel, okay, tracking what you've spent, reconciling your checkbook, writing what cents. We don't need you to do that. There is this platform called Mint. I love it. I swear by it. It is absolutely free and it is so powerful. Please create a Mint account. What it does for you is tracks your personal spending. It allows you to set goals. It pulls in all of your money, your checking accounts, your credit cards, your brokerage accounts, if you have stocks or any of that, your retirement accounts, I mean, everything. And every piece of spending that you do, it automatically puts into a certain bucket. There is no skill required. It is super, super fire. And it takes the guesswork out of that process for you and the intimidation out of it, right? Another dope thing that I love is that it gives me alerts. Like, you do not need to set this thing up. I get alerts that says, hey, Casey, your subscription spending has gone up this month. And I'll look and see, oh man, did I forget to cancel HBO after Insecure went off, right? Like, it does all of this for you. Like, oh man, like I watched that NFL game, but I really didn't want the sports package every month. The trial must have ended. Let me turn it off, right? It does all this for you. You do not need to prove that you're dope or smart by pulling out an Excel and say, hey, look what I wasted 17 hours on. Don't do it. Sign up for Mint ASAP. I swear by it. I've used it for years, and it is so powerful, and it's always free. There is no step up piece to this. Tesla said, downloading now. Great. I love it. I promise you're gonna love it. And it's great because it's on the go. Like, the cell phone is all you need, even as you travel. So I'm in Africa and I still swear by Mint. It automatically tracks your personal goals. So a simple view might be, hey, I only want to spend $300 on entertainment this month, etc. But it gets more robust than that. If you are saving for a house, you can drop that goal in there and they will literally tailor the updates for you. You don't need to program anything. If you want to improve your credit score, yes, I said credit score, you can put in that goal and it will track that for you and give you updates like, way to go, it improved 1 point today. And you can look on your credit report and see that it actually did. So please, I hope I've convinced you in this. But please save yourself some time and download Mint. Sign up all of your accounts on it so there's full transparency and you can get that headache out of your mind, because you need to know and feel what you're doing. Now we're moving on, because you are entrepreneurs, right? So aside from your personal spending, there is business spending. Y'all, QuickBooks Self-Employed is so fire. You want this on top of Mint. What it does is it pulls in all of your accounts, right? So same thing as I mentioned before with Mint, checking accounts, your credit cards, your brokerage accounts, if you have stocks, your retirement accounts, etc. But it goes a step further and it separates your personal expenses from your business expenses. That is key. That is important. You need to have that good hygiene as a business owner. I don't care how new your business is. It separates those for you. It goes a step further, y'all. And I use this. I'm telling you what I know. It goes a step further for you, and it itemizes those business expenses into your Schedule C category. So when you file taxes, there are categories for all of your spending so that you pay less taxes. So the things you spent on office supplies, right? The things you spent for phone usage for your business, for electricity for your business, etc. QuickBooks Self-Employed will categorize your business expenses into those lines. And when it's time to file your taxes, I hope you guessed it, they fill out the form for you automatically with the right bucketing so that you pay the least amount of taxes possible that you qualify for. I mean, again, like, take the headache away, take the stress away. Do not try to prove anything to yourself or anybody else. S is for subscriptions. Make budgeting simple by leveraging subscriptions. So I'm going to walk you through high level these three packages. I know a lot about each of them. I will tell you that the first one, $15, if you do any of these packages now, you get half off for 3 months. So that's even better. I mean, it's literally a Starbucks coffee to give you this powerful tool every month. But I'd say these are cheap prices. I hope my picture isn't blocking the last price for you. If you can't see it, the last price is $35. June said it's now installed on her phone. Go on, June. Y'all gonna love it. I promise. So the first one is everything I already mentioned. There's nothing that I mentioned that it cannot do, right? I love the next step up because it actually gives you a free state and federal tax filing. This is great because you're going to pay for that out of pocket. I don't care who you are, you usually pay for that, right? So if you can have all of that stuff that I mentioned before, and it downloads to TurboTax for you if you're fine using that, and it's free for you to file those taxes, so that's even more money that you're getting back. And oh, by the way, if you're a person that pays taxes quarterly, right? If you pass a certain threshold on paying employees, you'll have to. But if you're a person that pays taxes quarterly, it actually calculates your taxes and will pay those taxes for you on a quarterly basis. Spending $25, that's a meal at a restaurant per month. On all of that power is so worth it, right? And like so worth it. There is not an if, and, or but about it. And this literally takes away stress. It takes away anxiety. It takes away frustration. It takes away you having to do it all by yourself, right? And then the last one, it's $10 more. This is what, and I'll give a real story about this because I used it. Tax time came around last month after the extension, and it made my life so easy. The self-employed live tax bundle, that's extra $10. That's $35 per month. It is super fire because it does every single thing I mentioned before. But anytime you need to talk to a CPA, like a person who has credentials in this stuff, you can talk to a live person. I talk to a live person a lot. It's already included. Like it's already included, y'all. That's not you paying somebody's salary for a year. Like it's an extra $10 and it's already included. When you finish doing your taxes, you can have a live person look through your tax filing. That way, if you miss any deductions or you miss any, perks you could have gotten, et cetera, they can give you that feedback. And then if you just need general advice, you have somebody you can talk to all year long. All right. So like I said, I use the third prong. The first prong is still way better than nothing. It's actually super fire, right? So you need Mint and you need QuickBooks Self-Employed because S is for subscriptions. Right now, there's a whole nother other thing called QuickBooks Online. 3 tiers to this. Before I even dive into it, I want you to see that it's the same pricing, right? So even though this gets even more robust, if you're at this level, it's not more expensive. You have $16, $25, and $34, right? So it's literally the same pricing, give or take $1 on one of these tiers. But the difference here is this is for companies that are more robust. A beautiful thing is I actually transitioned into QuickBooks Online in the last month because things have gotten more robust for me. Why? Because I just hired an extra 3 people, right? I already had 3 people employed. I hired an extra 3 people. So now I have 6. So certain things like managing 1099s, right, for my contractors got a little more complex. Instead of being stressed about it, Casey did not lose a wink of sleep on it. She transitioned to the subscription that could meet her needs. And it's starting at $16 per month. It's a no-brainer for me. So literally, because I have QuickBooks Online, I can literally put in their email address, put in the contractor's name, and hit the send button, and they fill out their W-9 at the beginning of the year, putting all information that's encrypted and password protected and all that stuff. And then any invoicing I need to do for the year, it happens automatically in QuickBooks Online. So again, this happens when you get more sophisticated, right? If you're not hiring contractors or sending any invoices, et cetera, you don't need to use this, right? And it's not more expensive than the other one, right? It just gives you some different types of functionality, right? The one drawback on this side is you see none of these packages have the TurboTax thing. Now, again, right, think about where you are, right? On the side where it was just me, and I don't have people and it's less complex, I just need Shawty that I can call up, right? Anytime throughout the year that I want to, because it's just me, right? So that made sense for me at that time. Now that I have contractors and I know my tax situation is going to be more complex, and I know I have people to account for, and I know I have these invoices floating all around, right? I need a little more hand holding than what I had before anyway, right? So think about your situation. It's not necessarily more expensive. It's just a different package offering. So you have the simple start, which is everything I already mentioned, right? You can send the invoices. You can send the contractor 1099s. I love that so much. And you can still track sales, expenses, profit, right? And then the essentials, now you get a step up where they're actually not just showing you the bills that are coming up, but they'll pay it for you. That's tight, right? And again, it's just $10 extra. That's less than you would be paying somebody on head count for payroll, okay? It can do some other things such as transact multiple currencies. So some of you already know you want to be global in your transactions, right? QuickBooks Online can handle all of that. It's super, super fire. And again, this is what you pay to eat out once per month. It's a no-brainer. Do not try to reinvent the wheel. This stuff is super fire. I swear by it. And then the Plus package is even more robust in that you can track projects and drive profitabilities, create purchase orders. But again, this is big. I mean, this is what franchises use. And I know this because when I banked, when I was a banker and I structured loans, like I had to understand how they were running their books, and QuickBooks Online was what they used, right? So this is much bigger companies. But I wanted to show you all of that because S is for subscriptions. And there's nothing scary about that. Even the price point, there's nothing scary about that, okay? All right, so I think we got that S is for subscriptions, and I just want to leave you on this note. And for those of you who've been rocking with me for a minute, you know that I swear by automation. Okay, so I just want to say, keep that same energy, the subscription energy, in other pockets of your business, because it's going to give you the same lift for a very small amount of coin. Email marketing. If you do not have an email marketing subscription, you are losing. You need to be showing up outside of social media. You need to be in their inboxes, guys. When you have launches and announcements and blogs that they need to read and songs they need to listen to because you're creative and you just dropped a new product, right? You need to have text message marketing. That's a whole other step up, right? If you have an event that's coming up, or even speakers that are going to be involved in a conference or a seminar, being able to text them and say, hey, your appointment is coming up. I leverage that for my appointments. You guys, for those of you who are my clients and you've had meetings with me, you see, like, you get a text message an hour before the call, like reminding you that we have this appointment coming up, right? If you don't have a subscription for that, you are, I'm not going to say losing, because it's a step up above email marketing, but you are greatly missing out. Call scheduling, similar. I don't lift a finger. I promise you. I have calls. I mean, I have at least 15 calls per week. I'm undercutting it, but I don't lift a finger to facilitate those calls, because I have a call scheduling subscription. People can pick their times. They can pick their days. It sends out the calendar invite to me and them. And then all I do is hit the button to pull up the Zoom, right? S is for subscriptions. Keep this same energy and invest the $2 and $5 or $3, right, to get all of this moving for you in your business. Because this is not about pinching pennies. This is about edifying you so that you can be your best self, so that your creative juices are flowing, so that you have everything that you need. I'm going to unpack this more as we get through this, but just keep that same energy. And I've listed a few other things. Screenshot the screen, take the notes, but I'm challenging you on purpose. I am challenging you on purpose. And if you have not attended my automation class, you should. The link is in my Instagram bio. I really think you should if you have not. My Instagram is I am Casey Richardson. All right, so moving on. I won't beat you on the head too much with that. I is for investment. Now, before I get into this, because I know that's a scary word, again, because of some of the unhealthy relationships we have with money, a mindset principle is this. There is a difference between a hobbyist and a professional. Drop a 3 in the chat if you hear me on that. There is a difference between a hobbyist and a professional. If you are on this call, it is because you are an entrepreneur. So you hiding in the shadows, like this hobbyist word is intentionally, if you are hiding in the shadows and you are not investing in your business and you are not investing in the technology that you need, then you aren't really a professional in the first place. You aren't really an authority in your lane in the first place. Not because you're not capable, because you are giving up your power. You're choosing to give up your power. All of you are professionals. All of you are authorities in your lane. All of you are called for this. You are called for this. You are gifted for this. Your wounds have made room for you even, right? It is that deep. You are in this position for a reason. So you can't be a professional without making investments. Okay, because we're not hobbyists in this. I see the chat blinking. Let me check it out. 3. Okay, hallelujah. Okay, Teswan feels me. June feels me. Kristen feels me. Maisha feels me. Shambria feels me. All right, I'm glad we're on the same page with this, because before we get into investments, which is a whole other thing, right? I need to make sure that we are thinking about this as the professionals that we are. Beautiful. So if you need to invest in a DSLR camera, which is different from your smartphone that you have been using for the last 9 months, you need to do that. So as you are writing out your budget, you need to be intentional about researching what is the quality, what is the caliber of this tech, this camera tech that I need to be a professional in my lane? Is it a laptop? Is your laptop busted? Right? Is it archaic? Does it move slow? Does it crash every single time you connect to the internet? Right? I challenge you to think about yourself as a professional and the brand that you are building, right? The authority that you are. How much do you need to invest in a laptop? It's not an if, ands, or buts about it. We're not spending out of lack. We're not going to have guilt around our spending, right? And notice, I haven't even asked you how much y'all made in a month. I don't even care at this point. I promise you. I don't even care at this point. That's not priority. We start with the S and then we're on the I. We'll get to the rest later. I need you to write out what that tech costs. Is it machinery? Are you making shirts? Do you need to buy a printing system? Do you need to weigh boxes that you're shipping out because you're shipping out across shore, right? What is it? Is it a green screen? I think y'all get where I'm going, but I mean it. I challenge you to think about the investments that you must make in your business to operate as the professionals that you are, right? That you are. Write that down so that you really see what your budget is. So again, subscriptions, $15 for this, free for that, $12 for that. Write that down. There's a total associated with that. Okay, that's a piece of your budget. You got the S part down. Write down the investments that you must make to operate as a professional. Do not hold back. Do not hold back. You deserve so much. You deserve so much. I didn't put anything on that in the end of that sentence for a reason. There's no caveat to that. There's no disclaimer on that. You deserve so much. So I challenge you to write out the investments that you need. Okay, y'all about to make me shout in here. Maisha said, Casey, get off my toes now. Kristen said, woo, you just read me. Look, that's why God put it in my spirit. Come on in my room. We're going to get right today, okay? I wish I could hear Maisha sing. That girl can sing. But good. I'm seriously, and honestly, I'm happy this is resonating because I need for y'all to remove these unhealthy things we have, this lack in spending, this guilt around spending, this fear around spending, and list it up. All right. So that was the I. It feels like y'all felt me. So now we're on the M. M is for milestones. Write that down, please. M is for milestones. You know what you need to invest in, right? And you will invest in that, right? Because you're a professional, not a hobbyist. Amen. Okay. So based on the investments that you will make, at this point, it is time for you to outline where you expect to be in 3 months. This is the fire part about investment. This is the fire part. You know that if you invest in that camera, right? Say you're a creator and you invest in that camera, you know your followers will go up X%, right? Or X number in 3 months, right? Et cetera, right? And this is what I mean by that, right? You know that if you invest in the right tech and you get the laptop, right, that you can do the presentations from, right? And you can speak to the boardrooms and the colleges, right? And on the stages at seminars that you're supposed to speak to, right? So you know that your customer base in 3 months, based on that X dollar investment, your customer base will grow by X amount. You know how to size that up. Y'all know how powerful y'all are, right? Y'all know that. Like, it's time for you to do the milestones, and you have to do the milestones, right? So put a pin in 3 months from now, based on the investment that you will make. This is not no ifs, ands. You don't need the milestone to prove that the investment is worthy. You already know the investment is worthy. I just want to say that really, really clear. Okay, so that we don't negate this investment, because we're going to do it, right? But write that out. How many sales will you make as a result of this investment that you're going to make? You already know, right? What is the exposure, right? And exposure is different from followers, right? Exposure is so much bigger, right? What are the impressions you've made? How many people know your name as a result of the conferences you were at, right? How many alumni know your name because of the magazine features that you were in, etc. The tier of clientele, this is a good one right here, y'all, right? Based on the investment that you made, right? Because you are able to pump out quality product in 3 months, how would the tier of your clientele change? This is fire, because you know if your tier changes, the people who could only afford half of what you're offering today, you're not even serving those clients anymore. You're able to service the clients who can pay 3 times, right? But the people who are asking you questions can pay today. That's the fire part of investment, It's ROI. That's a very, very common term in finance. It might have sounded a lot more sexy than it really is. I just explained to you ROI. You writing milestones, it allows you to size up your expected return on investment and hold yourself accountable to hitting your goals. Period. That's what it does. It is as simple as that. You know what the investments are. You're going to make those investments. Write out your milestones for 3 months, right? And then you will be able to see once you do it, oh, okay, this is my ROI. This is what I'm going to get as a result. It's that simple. Oh, and okay, this time I hold myself accountable. So within those 3 months, you can't be tracking along if you see that you're not moving those numbers, right? You're going to do what you got to do. You're going to grind. You're going to hit the pavement hard. Teswan said, amen. June said, amen. I'm happy y'all are feeling this, right? Because again, like, budgeting is something that gives people nausea. I know this. I talk to my clients and we talk for real. There is no mask on when we're doing this, right? It is always safe space. So I know how hard this is. And I'm challenging you on purpose because if we shift the way we think about this thing, if we refuse to be the last rung on the ladder, right? And we refuse to operate out of lack and know that we deserve everything that we need, right? Then the whole game changes. Like, yes, we were already cold, but the whole game changes once we shift our mindset around this. So I'm happy that y'all are feeling this and understanding where I'm going, because now we're getting to the hard part. Oh, this one is tough right here because P is for people. P is for people. So often we wait as long as humanly possible to hire. Drop a 1 in the chat if you feel me on this. Yes, we're talking about budgeting. And we thought that budgeting meant that we spend as little as possible to get by. That's not what business budgeting is, right? I am teaching you, I am intentionally challenging you to think about how to operate a business as a professional and soar, right? And P has to be in that thing. It has to be. But the dope part is, y'all, because you've established your milestones already before you got to the P, it is as simple as throwing those milestones in those people's hands, and y'all are looking at the same roadmap. Y'all are coaching from you are coaching from the same place. They are very, very clear about what their goals are. They're very, very clear about how the performance is being tracked. They're very, very clear about what matters most to you, right? So trust me, hit the S, hit the I, hit the M. The P will feel a lot less scary. I promise you. See, the chat is okay. We see ones. I see law at 1. I get it. But you should not wait until the last minute to hire people because there's power in this thing. People will offer the perspectives, the passion, and the pull that your budget should be yielding. I'm going to say that one more time. People will offer the perspectives. That word alone is bigger than you. Okay, I think y'all feel me. The passion and the pull that your budget should be yielding, right? The business budget is to get us where we're wanting to be. If somebody said global, you can absolutely be global. I promise you. I promise you I'll help you get there, right? But your budget better look like you're trying to be global. And again, I ain't even got to how much you make. We can worry about that when it's time to worry about that. I see somebody is new in the room. Please drop where you're from in the chat. We're so happy you're here. You are amongst family. Thank you so much for popping in. So that is why this piece is important. Okay. And I'll say on this, I don't want to beat this drum too much because you definitely need to see it with the S, the I, the M, and then you'll get to the P. There are places you can find the people, but the most important thing is changing your mindset around this thing, right? And I'll give you my own personal anecdotes around this. Entrepreneurship is hard for Black women because we don't have shoulders to tap on, right? When we want to do this thing called business for ourselves, we haven't seen anybody do what we're trying to do for ourselves, right? Our aunties didn't do it, right? Our grandfathers most times didn't even do it, right? So if you're in a position today where you have the power to hire. I'll use myself as an example. My cousin, who is 17 years old, brilliant rising senior in high school. I hired her as my virtual assistant. She has so much and I pay her well. I pay her twice the minimum wage out there in Alabama. Okay. But when I tell you her perspective and her brilliance and her her lens has just added so much to my business. It's incredible. That's what I'm talking about with perspective, passion, and pull. But what's bigger than that is she won't be in a position that I'm in where she's never seen anybody do, right, what she wants to do, right? She knows how the inner workings work, right? So it's not as hard as you guys make it, right? Like, you are leading the business. You decide how much people get paid. You have to say what you need. But if you have family members who are underutilized, that's people, man. Right? And you can go through other avenues, right? Say you just need a logo made. Don't sit there for 30 hours wasting your time creating a logo that doesn't have the professionalism that's needed. Go to this thing called Fiverr, write it down, Fiverr. Pay $10 to get 3 sample logos. I did all of this before, I promise y'all. $10, right? and choose the logo you like, right? Go to Upwork, UPWORK. Go to Upwork. If there are other types of professionals you need, go and hire them for one-off things, right? But if you need somebody to stick through it with you on a day-to-day, right, on a week-to-week, on a month-to-month basis, y'all don't wait too long. I'm telling you, because the dope part of it is you have a 3-month milestone. Nobody said you have to keep this thing going for 12 months. Yes, I'm sure that is scary, right? Because who knows what's going to happen in 12 months? I don't, right? But I have a really good idea of what can happen in 3 months if I make certain investments today, right? So you can and I do this with contractors all the time, right? I promise you, I wouldn't lie to you. I say, okay, we're going to try this out for 3 months. These are my goals. This is what I'm trying to get to, whatever. They are so clear about where I'm trying to get. They do everything they can to make sure we hit it. So I win, my sales win, right? My customer base wins. And, right, they're able to walk with me, another X number of months, right? So I'm telling you what I've done, right? And I'm telling you it gets bigger than you once you add this P, and it doesn't have to be as hard as we make it. Kristen said that's a word. I'm glad, and yeah, I'm being very honest. I'm being as transparent as I can be, right? So just know the role that you have in playing in advancing the next generation forward, if that makes sense, right? Michelle Obama said she came to Oakland when I lived there, and she said on the stage, she said 40 years ago, right, boardrooms looked like they look today, with very few women, right? And she said the lawyer circles look just like they look today, right? And then she said, and if in 40 years it still looks the way that it does today, it's because I didn't do something. I didn't do enough in the position that I hold today to change it. And she pointed at us and she said, and that means you didn't either. That gave me chills. I hope that gives you chills, because I'm telling you the exact same thing. On this P thing, it's deeper than going out there and not wanting to waste. No. You have people connected to you in your bloodline, in your churches, in your communities, etc., whose lives will be changed by you giving them this exposure, even if it's 3 months beside you, right? And then give them the milestones, put it in their hands, right? And just watch your business soar. All right, I'm gonna get off the P, y'all. I'm gonna get off the P. We only have 16 minutes left. So now we're on the L. L is for leverage. Again, we're talking about how to make business budgeting simple. I hope that this is resonating. If you have any questions, please do drop them in the chat. We're on the final stretch here. L is for leverage. And what I need to say is bootstrapping is so much bigger than scraping money from your bank account. What I've noticed in this side of my work, dealing with entrepreneurs, is that there is an understanding of what bootstrapping is. Now, this is understandable because June said this is resonating. Beautiful. I'm happy it is June. It's understanding because nobody's having these conversations, right? So I am here so that all of you in the room today, you have a deeper understanding of what bootstrapping is, because we're underutilizing it. This L is important in budgeting because once you've sized up your need, right, that's including the subscriptions, the investments, right, you know what the milestones are, you are going to hire the people, you're going to add that cost in, y'all. You're going to add that cost in. Now you know the funds that you need to raise to meet them. Now we get to the how, right? First, I needed you to be very, very honest about what you need. And as Black women, we don't do that, right? We don't do that. But I needed y'all to get very honest about what you need, and you know what it is. You saw it, right? You saw everything you need to invest in, right? You saw the people once I said that the people you know you need to be hiring, right? So once you've done all of that, you're sizing up the need, right? You're sizing the need, and we're going to talk about bootstrapping for what it really is, right? So number one, this is underutilized. It's not just about scraping up the pennies in your bank account. Y'all, bootstrapping involves crowdfunding. Please understand that there are so many people in the wings waiting for you to tell them what you need. And that piece, crowdfunding, is bootstrapping. That is bootstrapping. The village that helps you get to where you're going in business still is bootstrapping. So that's family, that's friends, that's community, that's churches, right? There should not be pride associated with this at all. And you don't even have to reinvent the wheel with this, y'all, because there are platforms that will facilitate this crowdfunding for you, such as, write this down, Kickstarter. You can legit go on Kickstarter, start a campaign, just like GoFundMe has, right? GoFundMe is on this list. And you can send that link to your church, to your family, to your friends, to your communities, to your sororities, right? I can go on and on and on, right? Again, size up your need. I don't care how much you have today. That didn't matter. Understand what you really, really need. Put all that in, add it all up, carry the two, right? Bring it down, add it up. And then once you have that size, now you can tell your people what you need. That is powerful. That is much different than you operating out of guilt, lack, and fear, right? I hope this is resonating with people. Let me read a question in the chat that we have. Is it safe to do crowdfunding when your brand isn't trademarked? Should that be something that I take into consideration? That's a great question, Teswan. I'm so happy you asked that question. It is. So if you are a sole proprietor and you've started a business, you don't even need to have an LLC to be an official sole proprietor. Your social security number is what you're using on a Schedule C. Schedule C is what you're filing as an entrepreneur. If you're a contractor even, right? Maybe it's not even your own business, but you contract out for people, right? You're still using that Schedule C. You don't have to have an LLC. Say you're written a book, as soon as you've printed that, right, and it's copywritten, right, that is yours, right? So the laws work in such a way that you are inherently covered. Now, that doesn't mean you shouldn't look into getting trademarks and you shouldn't look into getting LLCs. I'm gonna throw out another subscription that's fire. I have a subscription, LegalZoom. Y'all, it's so cheap. And you get so much. I've had these people do all sorts of things. I love maxing out subscriptions, okay? Like, I'll get a subscription and I have 50 needs for you out of the bag because I'm going to get every coin's worth, right? But I say all this to say, Teswan, do not let that hold you back from doing the crowdfunding because you are absolutely protected. And even a trademark is different from having an LLC. Just because you have an LLC doesn't mean that the name is trademarked, right? That's a whole nother process. So yes, you are protected. And we can talk more offline about that. You have my email address, but I'm happy to do a sit down and have a more in-depth discussion with you about that. I have a fire friend who's a lawyer outside of LegalZoom. LegalZoom is off the chain. I would recommend that highly. But if you want to talk to a sister, I have another person I can recommend to you. She does this day in and day out. But yeah, that's my feedback there. And there's some other ones. Fundable, I Fund Women. I'm part of that group. I actually applied and got accepted into I Fund Women of Color. Definitely check that out if you've never heard of it. But there's just so much stuff out here. And all this stuff is crowdfunding, y'all. This is not a loan, which means you don't pay interest on it because you don't pay crowdfunding back. I mean, this is fire stuff, y'all. This is bootstrapping, right? Do not reinvent the wheel. Do not let pride hold you back. People are waiting and willing. I donate to this stuff all the time because I'm just like, go on, baby, get your flowers, go on, do your thing, right? So you need to have this as part of your budgeting principles, because you done stacked the list. Now you go get what you need, right? Simple as that. Number 2, bootstrapping. Credit cards are part of this. Okay. Credit cards are part of this. And again, I know that's a scary word, especially, right, because we're not familiar with how to leverage it to benefit us. There are so many ways you can skin this cat, but one thing I'm going to throw out there for you is the fact that you can be very strategic about leveraging those introductory 0% APRs to bridge you to your milestones. So let me put that in layman's terms. You know what you need, right? You know the people that you're going to include in that, right? Now, let's say you apply for a business credit card and they give you 9 months, 0% interest. That means anything you put on there, okay, is no interest. It's as if you're using the cash in your checking account, right? And if you have a 3-month milestone, then that means you test out the waters and you can leverage that credit card with 0% interest. And at that milestone, if you're meeting that stuff, you probably can knock all of that thing out and rinse and repeat. Do it again. I mean this, y'all. Like there are so many ways you can skin this cat, but I'm telling you things that I've done intentionally. I'm being 100% transparent with you because I want to take the fear out of this thing. You guys are so smart. You're so brilliant. You're so resourceful. Look at how many people you've helped and how many things you've carried on your back for years and decades, right? For the sake of caping for your family members. Like, it's time for you to do that for yourself. And if you don't do it for yourself, I'm gonna do it for you first until you do. So think about that as one option. So many options, but that's a great option. Use that introductory period with 0% interest. Bridge yourself to that first milestone, hire people, whatever, all of that stuff, invest, all of that stuff, right? And if you meet your goal, right, then you know your return on investment, and then you wipe it out and you can rinse and repeat that thing again and again, right? 0% is better than the 29% you would have paid on a credit card you already have. Okay. It's even better than the 12% you might have gotten from a personal loan from SoFi, right? And you can look into that, right? So again, just throwing it out there for you. I hope that made sense. I know it's a little more complex. Check in the chat. Shambria put a heart. Love you, sis. Kristen said it's tough to get past the pride. Listen, I know it is, but I'm gonna have to do a better job of okay, I hope all of y'all are on my mailing list, because I'm gonna do this. When I joined, I fund women of color, for instance, right? And I looked at their crowdfunding campaigns. Y'all, all of the Instagram women with businesses I love, they were on there raising coins. I mean, thousands of dollars. Like, all of them. The girl who owns Mess in the Bottle, those shirts that just made the Target, she's on there crowdfunding, raising money for her business. I mean, so many people. The girl who started Blavity, why am I forgetting her name right now? Morgan DeBond. She's on there like today. Like Blavity has blown up. It has Afrotech and all of this stuff, but Meg is on there raising money today. Like, because we don't talk about this stuff, right? It's the only reason that we have insecurity around it, because we think we're the only people in need. The fact is, once we keep talking about this, we normalize it, much like depression, right? Much like gender roles, right? much like disappointment with church constructs, right? Like, the more you talk about it, the more it's normalized, and you realize, like, oh, I'm not the only one. But yes, y'all, like, and I'm so happy I got accepted to iPhone Women of Color. Y'all should apply, because I can see the people that I admire and aspire to, they're out here doing it this way. And I, on my freedom and fragility side, I'm capital raising starting next month. I've already started on the Blaze Woman. I mean, and I've hired a person to raise grant. I mean, y'all, like, I'm telling, again, everything I have, I will give it to you freely. All right. So I'm a stickler for time. 6 minutes left. I'm gonna zoom through this. Okay. June said great information. Beautiful. I'm so happy it's helpful, June. Shambria said self-love. Amen. It is radical. It is revolutionary. Self-love changes the game. It changes the game. And that is what all of my teaching is grounded in. I promise you, Shambria. Even my course, it starts with self-discovery, because it's not about living someone else's dream. It is not about not letting loved ones down. Like, we get one go around the track. And it should be used for the things that are calling you. If it's calling you, you will call for it, period. All right, now I'm going to keep going. All right, so, and the last thing I want to say is also, obviously, we think about scraping the pennies. I want to say, in reference to scraping the pennies, and this is coming from somebody who knows finance through and through, making a bet on yourself with your own savings is bootstrapping, and it is a noble thing to do. We will spend $200,000 on an Ivy League MBA that gets us no lift in our salaries, but be afraid to spend $50,000 of our savings on ourselves, making a bet on ourselves. That's crazy. And that is crazy. And I'm gonna tell you, I'm the first one to make a bet on myself. I mean, use every penny that I have. The first time I did it was when I left a crazy in a marriage, right? And since then, you can't tell me no different. I took everything I had when I left corporate America and started my bit. I took everything I had, right? And I could have gone and gave $200K to an Ivy League institution, but I said, nah, like I believe that I have the chops today. 6 months later, again, I'm a C-suite person for an African company. You know, like I have 2 businesses on my own. I have six hires. I mean, y'all, like make a bet on yourself with your own savings. You do not need permission. All right, now we're on the last, and business loans, I'll say that. And on this, y'all know what business loans are. I just want to give you a piece of information by letting you know that if you go to my website, casey-richardson.com, I have secured a special business loan for members of my Blaze Women's Network. So that's Black women. And it is super dope. It is super, super dope in that it combines crowdfunding with the loan construct. So the thought is, you ask for what you need, and I've just told y'all how to ask what you need. Don't be penny pinching yourself. You ask what you need, and you have at least 5 people donate, but it's really in a loan, $25 towards that, because that shows banks and lenders that you have social capital, people that believe in you. So if 5 people lend $25 to you and they aggregate that up, right, that shows social proof, right, that people believe in your business. And then other banks will lend in and crowdfund to lend to you. Now, the dope thing is the loan has 0% interest. Yes, I promise. 0 fees. Yep, you don't have to pay anybody a thing. They just take your loan size, divided by 24, and that's your monthly payment, right? So it is a loan. It just has 0% interest. It uses a crowdfunding construct. And for my women, I personally endorse you. So if you apply, I meet with you to understand your needs, where you're going, and make a commitment to step through this with you. But I give a personal endorsement that increases your likelihood of getting approved, right? So if you're interested in that, go to casey-richardson.com. But I've intentionally showed you some other ways, right? Bootstrapping ways that are different, right? That you don't have to pay back. So that's just FYI on that. So E, finally, yes, we've made it to what you make. Okay, yes, because yes, that does matter, but it is last on the list in the simple construct. So E is for earnings. And so my view, my thought, my theory, my principle that I stand and live on is that after you've sized up what you need to operate as a professional, you can then calculate the sales needed to cover it. And I call it break-even analysis. What does that mean in layman's terms? It means that I'm going to make it really simple, right? It means that if your budget has come out to be $3,000 per month, right? And you sell a $500 premium offering, then that means every single month, in order to break even, you must sell 6 units. That's break-even analysis. But that 3,000 is not based on you penny pinching and eating Vienna sausages. And, it is truly what you need to operate as a professional, right? Having the investments you need in your business, right? And then the number of sales you need to make. Right. So that means on day 3, if you've sold 1, you got 5 left for the end of the month, before the end of the month. If on day 27 of the month, you've sold 7, that means you can make a decision to chill for the rest of the month, to go on vacation, to make some more, it gives you the clarity of a ninja. It really does. So that can be looked at in a few different ways, right? I already gave this example. How many units must be sold to cover your monthly budget? And I'm actually asking y'all this question right now. You don't have to put it in the chat, but please write that down. Think of quick and dirty math in your head, right? How many units must be sold to cover your budget? Maybe you're not selling units. Maybe you are an influencer and you get ad revenue, right? From the number of views you have on YouTube and TikTok and other things, right? So what is the number of views? I mean this. What is the number of views that will get you the ad revenue you need to cover your budget? This is how you think about the E. Give yourself the precision of a ninja, right? Is it 900K views, right? Write that down. Figure out what that break-even point is, so you have that clarity, right? If you're a professional providing services and you don't sell products, right? How many client consultations must you conduct to cover the budget? Again, take the budget. We've added everything we need in business, right? We've added every single thing that we need. Even if you get loans, right? You know, one day you want to pay that back and be self-sustaining yourself, right? So we just need to figure out what the number is that we need to be covering. The power of that, y'all, the power of that is break-even analysis allows you to be creative rather than constrained around the channels you use to meet your goals, right? I'm gonna give you an example, right? Say somebody had this idea around how much beauty product they need to sell each month, right, to meet their goals, and they're operating as a professional, right? And say they saw, boom, they actually need to sell 330 units, and so they say, oh wow, well that means selling through Instagram ain't enough. Dang, I just need to sell wholesale, right? So let me approach the grocery stores, right? Like let me approach my local grocery stores, and let me approach local shops, right? Beauty salons that might cater to my needs. Like let me just start selling wholesale, because I have 30 days in a month. Same thing that I had before when I was moving this through Instagram, but now I have clarity and I know the number of units I need to sell, right? So let me switch to wholesale and sell 75 a case. Right. And so the people I'm targeting are different. Now I'm targeting businesses rather than customers, rather than consumers. Right. So on and so forth. Right. Like if you are a creative, it gives you a different spin. Like if you know you need to hit like a really, really high number of views, but once you hit that number of views, you're good. Like it covers your budget. Then that might make you say like, oh man, like let me have like guests on who will really get the count up, right? So let me just invest however much, and it might not even be that much, right? To have these big hitters on. I know that if I pop out three videos that all average 900,000 viewers, then I'm gonna triple my budget need for the month. I mean, y'all, like break even now, and I'm getting excited because I know how powerful it is. I know how easy it makes it for me to sleep at night and my clients who leverage this. But do all the other stuff first, because it unlocks that creative power for you to figure out how you meet that budget versus the inverse, where you would have been saying, well, I'm only selling this much, so I can only do this. And then in 3 years, I'm going to still be doing the same thing. No, y'all. I'm teaching you how to attain everything that you envision. If you call for it, it's because you're called, right? It's calling your name. So we're going to get to it. All right. I won't be the dead horse there, so I'm just going to say S is for subscriptions, I is for investments, M is for milestones, P is for people, L is for leverage, E is for earnings. All right. And I mentioned that I have, thank you, Maisha. Maisha said this is so good. I mentioned that I have a Blaze Business Intensive. So what I did today is just a taste of what my students get in the Blaze Business Intensive. Is packed with so much, like a 360 help on your business. And it is much about helping you find yourself in your business as it is about helping you manage it much like I did today. I'll drop in the chat right now, actually, for you guys, or in this group, an overview. Please definitely save it. You can have it, but it gives you an overview of the modules. In this course, it's 6 different modules. It starts with self-discovery, like I said. It's so powerful to start there. It changes everything that comes after it. So it's self-discovery and entrepreneurship. Then you move on to the business plan and then budgeting. You guys have already gotten a taste of that, but you actually have templates and even more meatier direction. We have a projections module, a strategy and automation module, which is personally my favorite. And then we end with networking, because just like we started with you, we end with you in a community, right? Because 1 + 1 is never 2. 1 + 1 is always 11. You are always stronger with others. Your impact is always compounded with others. So the last module underscores that on purpose, right? So I mentioned the self-discovery piece. The overview will have that because I'm over time. I'm going to keep going. The business plan, it's fire. It's fire, y'all. Just like budgeting is sexy after this course. After this webinar, I promise you the business plan is super sexy. It makes you just stand out among the competition. It gives you the precision of a ninja. It helps you understand how to be agile and ready for anything in your business. Super fire. budgeting, but it's budgeting specifically designed for today's Black woman startup. High key financial forecasting, which is budgeting on steroids, right? It's super fire. Look at the document that I gave you to download on that. Strategy and automation. Subscription on steroids, right? When I say keep that same energy, right, and apply subscriptions to other parts of your business. I intentionally give you over 120 different automation tools that you can use. There are so many out there. I help you apply it to 20 different areas in your business. And then finally, like I said, right, networking, because networking is for net worth. But you lead with the intention of impact, right, and give you the support you need, and everything else will follow. So yeah, I'm sorry I had to rush through this piece. But I do have that overview for you to download. And FYI, for the next 90 minutes, only for the next 90 minutes, I am offering that 6-week course at a discount. So if you use the link herein, only for the next 90 minutes is this good. You get $60 off of the course price. It is super, super fire. I promise you. And just to tell you what's on top of the course itself, you get so much support. So you get a jumpstart session with me that is one-on-one, because I want to know who you are. I want to know where you're going. I want to know how I can help you. And every single person I have the jumpstart session with, I tailor their roadmap for them, right? To make sure that they reach their goals, with whether it's being in a work from anywhere business around the world, right? Whether it's seeing their product on shelves. So that meeting is very important to me. The course is self-paced, but starting it off together is important to me. Every single week I host Wind Down Wednesdays, which is my version of office hours. So people can pop in, people who are currently in the course, people who've gone through the course but still want to pop in. We get together each and every Wednesday and I answer any questions. Some people want to have sounding boards, right? And I give them real honest feedback. It's always a good time. And that's every single Wednesday, live together. There's homework for every single module so that you cement your learnings. So different from this, where I'm asking you things and you're kind of writing on your own paper. I mean, I give you homework. There are templates. There are problems to solve. It is really applied to your business. And so what's fire about it is after you're done, you have that for a lifetime, and you can go back and refine it as you grow, right? You go back and refine it as your business grows and scales and expands, right? So it's really, really powerful to have that cemented for you. It's a private community. So there are over 100 women in a tribe. In a private community. It's a great place to find accountability partners. And then finally, there are networking events. And if this felt like a party, it's even more fire when we actually have our events, because you can actually see each other and talk to each other and hear real stories. And our events are super, super powerful, super, super safe. Our last one, we actually had Black men pouring into Black women. Ooh, woo, fire. So that's the course. Again, yeah, let's see how many minutes are left. For the next 1 hour and 27 minutes, you can get that discount if you're interested in it. But you can also check out the website, blazebusinessintensive.com. A lot of information there. You can sign up for our community, the Blaze Women's Network, at blazewomensnetwork.com. Powerful tribe. And again, that loan is only offered to members of the Blaze Women's Network. Those are only people I'm giving endorsements for. We're on Instagram, we're on Twitter, we're on Clubhouse. So yeah, like if you want to connect, definitely want to connect with you. Teswan said if you haven't signed up for it, you need to. So yes, Teswan is a student, y'all. And we still, I mean, since she's graduated the program, we still connect very, very heavily. I'm proud of her. I'm proud of the things she's stretching into. But yeah, like definitely don't be shy about it. I'd love to have you. Let me see. I'm missing a question. I'm going to answer this in the last one, because I hate being over, because I respect y'all's time. So Kristen said, with wholesaling, are you selling at half price per unit? Beautiful question, Kristen. Man, this is such a beautiful question. You would love the course, sis. I promise you would love the course. But in a nutshell, very, very quickly, you got to start from a different way, Kristen. So you have to start with, what is this costing me, right? So what are your raw materials costing you? What is your packaging costing you? What is anything you're using, right, to facilitate assembly, etc.? What is all of that costing you, right? Then look at the time you're putting into making it, right? So if you had to put a price on that labor, right, on those hours of labor, right, what is that costing you, right? And once you finish that, you know how much the cost of the good is in the first place, right? Then compare that to the cost you normally sell it for. Look at that margin, that separation, right? So is it a 70% markup? Is it a 20%? If it's only a 20% markup, that means you can't split the price in half, right? Because now you're losing money, right? So that's where you have to start. Understand where your normal price is, right? Understand how much wiggle room you have between the cost of that good and what you're selling it for regular price. And then, and only then, right, can you have a good feel of what your wholesale price should be. Now, cutting the wholesale prices fire is important because ain't no way in hell you would have sold that same number of units in that same short amount of time if you're doing person to person, right? So you're still winning, right? You're still winning very, very heavily, right? So you're not losing anything by cutting the price, right? But figure out what it costs you first, right? Understand what that margin is between the normal price, and then look at the wholesale price. I hope that's helpful. Hope that makes sense. All right, my loves, you guys are amazing. I mean it. This fills my spirit every single time. So thank you for coming through. I love you. I mean it. And have a great Monday. And for those of you who sign up and enroll tonight, I cannot wait to work with you. I'm looking forward to it. All right. Bye.